Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for week 39. The news report covers some of the many investment projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here from High-Tech Investment, and welcome back to the channel where it is time again to have a look back at the last week in the Forex market. Let's have a look at all the EAs that we are currently trading, and I'm going to show you exactly how well we've been doing in the past week. However, before we get into all of this, I have both some positive and some negative news. We're going to start off with the positive part, and that is that the YouTube channel here now have surpassed 4,500 subscribers. So we are very happy with this. And again, thank you very much to all the new subscribers. And of course, also thank you very much to the old subscribers that continue to support us in our trading journey, showing you exactly how well we are doing. And more importantly, also when we are not doing so well, why that is. But there is unfortunately also a bit of bad news for this particular week in here, because it looks like we have actually gotten a YouTube channel strike. So, and the question is now, is this the beginning of the end for our YouTube channel in here? We haven't seen anything like that before. So it's very much a high with the more subscribers. And then all of a sudden we are actually hit with this. Now, this is not the first time we have heard about this. Recently, Expert4x and Alex had a range of videos taken down, most probably for the same reasons as we are now also getting included in this. And funny enough, this is not one of our full video tutorials. This is actually just a short little YouTube short. And basically what they came back with here is high-tech investment. We reviewed unlocking 100% win rate with RSI again, and confirmed it is not allowed under a harmful and dangerous policy. We understand that this may be frustrating, but we are committed to keeping the YouTube a safe place for everyone. So this is basically our reply. As the video was removed, then obviously we have an opportunity to go in and then again plead our case, which we did. There's not much for text in here, but anyway, we did it. And it was even more frustrating as it only took a minute or two, despite actually telling us it could take up to 3 days. So it's very clear that within those few minutes, there wouldn't have been enough time for a human being to actually have a closer look and see exactly what we wrote, on top of reviewing again the details and information that we provided. So clearly this is an AI reply, and that is now the world we live in. Unfortunately, it is not really what we have seen from YouTube before, because we are very cautious and careful always to make sure that things are done in the right way. Now, this particular video in here is actually that one. So this is just a video short explaining a few things, and we believe that that text up here is actually the trigger for everything that has happened, which seems to be very, very similar to the issues with Expert4x videos in here too. Now, there is a bit of a strange thing, because when we are normally looking at videos or other financial videos in here too, we see a lot of advertising from YouTube on these particular ones, and some of them are extremely annoying, basically telling us we don't know how you found us here. And then they are showing yachts, they are showing Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And once we are done with our video, then we see another young man putting out the hand with his phone, and you can see that he has 10 or 12 positive trades in the last day or week. It doesn't really matter much. And he says all this can simply be done, basically making 7,000 a week just with $100. And for me, that is completely unrealistic, but seems to be a double standard in here in between some of the contents that we are doing and we are providing, also with all the receipts from FX Blue every single week. But this seems to be the first point where there might be even more. And that also means, of course, that then our YouTube channel will be shut down. But for now, we are still live, we are still sending. And that's also why we need to get back into the normal news rhythm. And then hopefully that one will not be taken down. So we're obviously going to go over the video that I made in the last week. I'll explain a bit more about it later in the program. Also, Expert4x have put a video out that very much includes us in this particular week. So we're very happy with this. And we have to look into the copy link service, also showing you some of the best results over the past week. We have picked them out, made a little search in here. So these are the top ones that you should go and have a look at. So let's start off with Wave Liberator for week 39. The top 5 EAs in here is actually led by New Zealand USD at $30.03 for the week. And then all of a sudden we have a drop already down to second, Euro USD $20, 2%. And it continues all the way down to the US Japanese, only $15, 1.5%. And that means that the top 5 for this portfolio in here created $98 or 2%. And that is definitely below our normal average in here. So let's go and have a look at the entire portfolio. We can see it's still doing well. Very nice graph. Balance is up to 268,000. Equity here is at 252 minus the floating profit and loss of 15,000. But our close profits more than 44,000. So it's looking good. Monthly returns is still 10% on a $1,000 account. Otherwise, it's 1%. Trade wins are still high, 68.8, and we have trades per day just over 12. We have a nice big history of 762 days in here, so plenty of data. And for the people that didn't think that the grid trading could be done long term, well, here you go. That is actually the confirmation of this. Now it has dropped, so the Wave Liberator entire portfolio, 204 is the number for the week, compared to 244 for the week before, 241 and 300. So we haven't dropped all the way back into the hundreds or even below, as you can see. So it is good and positive, and hopefully it's just a bit of a breather until we'll see things happening again like we do with the RSI Liberator. That one also here is also struggling this particular week. Again, you have a lot of USD also here with New Zealand USD on top. Slightly lower, $24, 2.4%, and then Aussie USD, also $24, 2.4%, and then it drops all the way down to New Zealand CAD, $15, 1.5%, and this particular portfolio in here was creating $100 or 2%, also here definitely below the normal average that we have. If we have a look, the graph is still very nice. We can see a few bumps in here, but otherwise for a long time it's been very smooth. Also, this one, floating profit or loss at 16,000 at the moment, and a lot more close profits, so that's good to see. Monthly returns is 0.8 or 8% on $1,000 accounts. Weekly returns is around 2% on average, similar to what you saw in here. Trade wins 66, so that is a bit on the lower side, but still definitely acceptable. More than 40,000 pips has been taken with 13 trades per day. And also a history here of 537, so good and strong. But when we look at this particular week in here, we only made $131 compared to $275, $297, $290 in the past weeks. So it is pretty much halving down the profits at the time. So let's hope we're going to chase that this particular week coming. Hedged EA, also that one, also struggling quite a bit on the week 39. We have also New Zealand as the best one at $26, 2.6, so that's not too far off compared to the other ones. But when we look at the bottom, we have Great British Pounds Swiss francs, only $11, 1.1%, and the same here for New Zealand CAD, $11, 1.1%, and total of $81, 1.6% is what the Hedged EA could do for the week. Again, smooth curve as we are used to seeing for these grid trading EAs. We still have too high of a floating profit or loss compared to close profits, which actually all this drawdown happened around April back then. Hasn't been able to recover, especially because of the US dollar is getting weaker and weaker. We have taken about 23,000 pips, more than 11 trades per day, and with a history of 252 days in here, we have a lot of data coming in for the Hedged EA. And also here you can see $101 was all we made compared to 183, 209, and then 174. So it's definitely still dragging on, especially because of the drawdown that was received quite a few months ago now. But the simple grid trader is normally the one that are doing the best, but also here you can see some slowdown. The best we have is Euro New Zealand with $55, 5.5%. So that is obviously well beyond what you should normally be expecting. Great British Pounds New Zealand comes in at $50 and 5%. And then at the bottom of the top 5 portfolio in here, the Aussie USD, $29, 2.9%. And overall, they made $198 or 4%. So that is very good and stable. And obviously, if this results would have continued for the same ones, you would have had approximately 15-16% for an entire month. And that is beyond what we would normally see. Now, the graph itself is not so smooth for this particular one. And that is the nature of actually closing trades every single time. What we have here is 20 accounts of $1,000, and we have now made up to 27,000. Equity is 21,200, means the floating profit of loss is 5,800. So that has gone up considerably in the last week. And again, we have closed profits, so we are still in the monthly printing phase, more than 7,000. So that's good to see. Total returns is 12%, but the monthly returns are still very low. So compared to when we are doing our back testing, 6.7 with the weekly returns of 1.6. So it is cashing in, but not as well as we would have liked to hope and what the back testing actually showed us. Trade wins are high, 73%, with more than 35,000 pips taken. Trades per day is quite high, 19, and then a history of 165 days in here. So it makes this still a very good EA. We have gotten 251 for the entire portfolio, but compared to the 551 last week, also here pretty much cut the profit in half, but we are on the same level as we were in early September, 262, but definitely a lot better than what we saw some points in August. Now, I mentioned also I did a new video, and that I did last week in here. So this is the ultimate MT4 cleanup video showing you how you can actually get more speed out of your MT4 platform, what it is that are holding it back and making it slow and sluggish, and basically what you need to do in here. Everything is lined up for you, both in the video, but we also have a bit of a points list, so you can use that point list in the future to make sure that your MT4 platform is working optimum and running at the best speed possible. The lucky trader for week 39, also here we see a bit of a slowdown even at the top here. Also New Zealand only $17, 1.7%, and then it slows down, but only slowly. So with New Zealand Swiss francs at $15, 1.5%, and then at the bottom of this portfolio, the US CAD comes in at $12, 1.2%. Great British Pounds CAD, $12, 1.2%. And overall, this portfolio quite disappointing, $69, 1.4%. But overall, the lucky trader is still working quite fine. It just has a very bad week here at the moment. We can see the monthly return still calculated at 1% or 10% on a $1,000 account. Weekly returns should be then around 2.5%. Trade wins 69, so nice and high. Trades per day 13, and a history now of 330 days. So we are coming up to the 1-year anniversary in the very close timeline. $99, that's all the entire portfolio actually did, and that is very disappointing compared to 336 the week before, 202 and 242. So we're hoping that this is just, again, as we said, the week where it's going to take a bit of a breather, and then hopefully it'll come back to life again. Now, I mentioned we also have Expert4x video in this particular week in here. Again, this is a members update, so with recent trading results, and this is for the coupling service. Expert4x is actually updating this one on a weekly basis, and they go in and explain how you can actually set up, how you can make your search patterns in here to make sure you're getting the right ones. So that will be working out for you. That both shows you the drawdown that you have over the last 8 weeks, the floating profit of loss currently you have, and then it will also show you again what kind of profits you would had in the last 8 weeks, similar to what we actually have done here. So this is the latest one, last updated 27th of September. And again, we go in floating profit and loss. We do a bit of a search to say we don't want to see any links that is above 300. And you can see they are very, very low. Some are pretty much zero. And again, these are some of the single trades items and that are extremely low drawdown in here, but they are also account size is 300. You can see that over there in this column. So either 300 or 1000 is what we're using. Then you have total negative weeks in the last 8 weeks. Again, I don't want to see anything over 300. And as you can see, most of them is just dual digits. Link 177C is 191. So that's still well under control. And we also have return on total drawdown. Again, we want to see at least 100%. And all of them are doing quite well. Funny enough, this one here is in red with 289. But this is still a very good results. And then what we do is the percentage gains, and this is on equity in the last 8 weeks, high to low. And some of the bottom ones we have is 5, 6, 7%, which is not bad compared to what we have seen in the last couple of months since basically July. It's only here beginning of September, things are picking up. So these are still very good numbers. And then it ends up with the link 312. Actually gains the last 8 weeks, 59%. So that is quite astonishing. There's obviously a lot more, especially when it comes to return on drawdown. If you remove this one, your list is getting even longer. But I've put in these search criteria so you can actually see which ones are the top ones for the copy link service for the week updated 27th of September. So as you can see, this week was not one of the better ones. Definitely there was a bit of a slowdown on the profits for pretty much all of the EAs in here. Let's hope this is just a short little pause and then everything will spring back to life again. So if this particular video here is not going to be taken down, or the next one, then hopefully we'll be back next week again showing you our results. And these results also comes with receipts. As you know, you can go straight to the High Tech Investment website. You can go in on each individual EA and then click on the FX Blue links so you can actually see and verify that the results that we are presenting here every single week, well, these are the right ones. These are not made up. But again, this is the Forex market. So be very cautious and careful. If you would be starting even on the copy link service, we have done a lot of videos on this in the past where you have to, first of all, start off with demo accounts. Once you know that the results are reasonable and you are not risking too much, then you can always go over on live accounts and then slowly but surely build your entire portfolio from there. Because don't forget, you and you alone are responsible for your own Forex trading, and hopefully you will do well in the future. Definitely, I also hope to see you next week or on one of my other videos. Until then, bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.